Hey, what's up guys, how y'all doing? My name is Prince Mason. Welcome to the part 2 of the How to Retouch Dark Skin series. Today we're looking at frequency separation. The last video, I'll probably put like the link in the description below. We talked about how to process your raw images, and I used Capture One, so I did all that in Capture One, and after that now I brought my files into Photoshop, or I brought my image into Photoshop, where how I start is by doing frequency separation, taking out the blemishes, and blending the skin tones, making sure the image is looking really good before doing other things like dodge and burn and sharpening my image, and fixing my skin tones. Whatever it is, the first step I take is frequency separation. So now let's get into frequency separation. But before we do that, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the notification button so that you can receive notifications every time I put up a new video. I try to put up 2 to 3 videos every week. 2 of them are like educational and whatever videos. Then the other one will probably just be a vlog from one of my photo shoots. But anyways, please just subscribe and let's get into this now. Frequency separation separates your image into 2 frequencies, definitely 2 layers, right? I'm not going to go in depth into all that because I'm not really good at at all them mathematical things and all that. I just know it works for me, and I know how it works for me. So it creates the high layer and it creates the low layer. So let's do that now. So but what you do is you duplicate your background layer, your image layer, you duplicate it twice. So let's do that. That's Control J on PC, Command J on Mac, right? I use a Mac, so if I say Command and you use a PC, then just understand that that's Control. I'm going to name the bottom layer low, right? That's my low layer. Then the top layer, I'm going to name it high. So my bottom layer is where my the whole information on my skin tones are going to be, while the top layer is where the information of my textures will be. So I'm going to uncheck my top layer. Then for the low layer, we'll go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And now, when you're picking the radius of your low layer, it's very key. Now, I never thought it was key before, but or it was important before. I used to use the same value for all my images till I found out that it's actually really key for you to have different values for different images, because different images you shoot them at like different lengths. So your megapixel count, probably stays the same, but your images, the sharpness of your images most times reduce when you actually move away from the subject. So the further you are away from your subject, the less sharp your image will be, the less amount of texture you see in your image space. So when you're doing beauty shots, your radius might have to be high, and when you're doing full portraits, your radius will probably have to be low. So just keep that in mind. And this is what I found out, though it might not work for other people, but I think this works. So yeah, now for this image, make sure you find the radius that works, that would take out all the blemishes, so you are not going to see most of the blemishes or the skin texture in your image after you've worked on your radius. Now for this image, I'll probably be using somewhere around 910 will work fine for this image. So yeah, so we're going to click OK now. Then go to the high layer, click the high layer, go to image, then apply image. Make sure the layer I'm picking is the low layer. My blend mode will be subtract. My scale is 2. My offset is 128. Opacity at 100%. And I'll click OK. Then from here, I'm now going to, from my blend modes right here, I'm going to change this to linear light. I'll put this in a group. Command G, Control G on PC. Then I'm going to name it FS, which is short for frequency separation. So basically, this is your frequency separation group. This is like your frequency separation layer. This is what it does. The low layer right here has all your color information, while the high layer up here has your texture information. Yeah. Now we're going to go the extra step and create more layers in our frequency separation group. And what we're doing, or why we're doing that, is so that in case there's a mistake, let's say we worked on our images and everything is perfect, then we found out that earlier on we made a mistake on our high texture, and we've worked on our low frequency layer, and we do not want to delete everything. So we can just delete just the high frequency layer and duplicate it again and work on that layer without having to delete the whole group. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is I'm going to duplicate this layer, hold the Alt or Option button, Alt on PC, Option on Mac, and hover my mouse between both layers here, and you see the clip. I think that's the clip mask option will come up. Then I'll clip, right? Then for my high layer, it's a bit more complicated. I'm just going to zoom in and show you guys. So once we duplicate the layer, the high layer, it becomes, the textures become too much, you know. Then even after we clip it, it gets worse. So what we'll do is change our blend mode from linear light to normal. So now we're going to be working on the copy layers of our high and low layers. That way, if there's a mistake, we can easily delete, right? Duplicate, clip the layer, go to linear light, and change it to normal again, without having to start frequency separation from the top. Now, I hope you guys understand this. If you do not, just watch the video again and practice and do it the same way I'm doing it, and you get it perfectly. Now, the way some people work on their low layer is by adding more Gaussian blur to it. Now, I used to do that in the past, and I found out that it just makes your image look fake, and yeah, it doesn't make it look extremely very professional, and it flattens your image out, and that's not what we're trying to do with this image. We want it to look really great and want the images to look very professional, want it to be professionally retouched. There are a lot of professionals, or there are a lot of people that frown on frequency separation, and I think it's because they do not do it right. You know, some people prefer macro dodge and burn to frequency separation. That's fine. I just feel like it's whatever works for you at the end of the day. The thing that matters is the end product, you know, how great the image looks at the end of the day. So it's not about what process you took to get to that point. It's about how good the image looks at the end of the day. Now, how I do my frequency separation is by using my mixer brush tool. Now, I hope you guys follow the signs at the top. I'm not going to tell you exactly what everything does, but what I do is I set my wet to 30. I set my load to 30. Your mix really doesn't matter, but my flow I set it to 30. The reason why your mix doesn't matter is because we're not trying to mix colors into this image, but I think for just visual, I didn't know that before, but just because I always set my mix to a particular value, I'm just used to leaving it at 30. I don't know, it just works for me. I think the load option, we're going to untick that right here. You just untick this, then you tick this. So this cleans the brush after every stroke. So yeah, don't forget to tick that. Then we'll leave this at custom. So this is what I do. Then I'll now paint into my low layer. Now, try not to drag from your highlights to your shadows, and you know, from your shadows to your highlights. Work on your highlights and your shadows separately, and work in between your highlights and your shadows, because how you blend, you know, from black to white. Just imagine if your shadows are black and your highlights are white. Now, the only way to do it is to make it look good, or the only way to make that look good is when you blend white into black and you create gray in between it. So there's a gradient that moves into, you know, that moves into the whites from the black. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And that's what I do with my mixer brush tool. So unlike the normal brush tool where you have to sample colors and, you know, sample and paint, the mixer brush tool automatically samples the colors around that area for you, so you just paint with the tool. So we're going to get into this now. Now, as you can see, I'm just painting gradually over my my shadows in the image. I'll just call them shadows. Maybe they're probably midtones, but yeah, just going to paint over this gradually. Obviously, this will take a lot more time to do, but I just want to show you guys quickly how I go about this. Then I'll probably fast forward the video to the end. But so just this little thing that we've done at the top. Now let's see the before, let's see the after. Can you guys see the little smudges around the head here on the left part or the right part, depending on how you're looking at it? It's gone. So just, you know, with a few clicks, right? Then I'm just going to do this. Now just be very careful the way you use this, because it tends to be very destructive, and you would have to, you know, delete your layer and start over again. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. So let's always put that in mind. So yeah, now somewhere around the nose here. Now I'm not going to, like I said, you work on your highlights and you work on your shadows. I'm not going to drag my highlights into my shadows. I'm just going to work on both separately. Then sometimes I'll work in between just to create that gradual gradient between the highlights and the shadows. So that's the same thing I'll do around here. Just walk around the nose here. Now, don't forget that highlights and shadows actually shape your subject's face. So the moment you start mixing both together, you definitely will just destroy the shape of your subject's face. So always have that in mind. So yeah, right here with the blushes, I'm just going to work on that separately. Always try to use bigger brush strokes, because small brush strokes tend to create, I don't know, some kind of effect that's not really nice. So try to work with big brushes. And you know, when you're working with an image like this, or when you're working with like a tool like this, make sure you're not all zoomed in, because you'll not be able to see what you're doing. So try to zoom out and edit images while you're zoomed out. I think the only time I zoom into an image is when I'm removing like the blemishes and I want to see exactly what I'm moving. So I hope you guys understand how the mixer brush tool works now. And instead of making this video so long, I'm just going to fast forward this part, and yeah, I'll come back when we're moving to the next stage. So yeah. Well, so guys, I'm back. As you can see, we've made a huge difference. We've made like we've moved forward. Let me just put it that way. And I'm just going to show you guys the before and the after. As you can see, before and the after. Now the subject's face looks a lot smoother. Like the gradient between shadows and highlights looks way better now. But we're still retaining the textures in the face. That's one thing. And our subject still looks great. Our subject still looks the same way. You know, we have not altered how she looks, and or we've not moved our shadows into our highlights in some certain places to make, you know, the image look terrible. The image still looks almost the exact same way it looks, but the difference is that we've made the gradient between the highlights and shadows a lot softer, so that way the image looks way better. Now, after doing this, some people remove blemishes before doing this, but I prefer to do this. I prefer to work on my skin tones before taking out like the textures or working on my texture layer. So we're going to jump into the texture layer right now. And what I usually do when I'm in my texture layers, I use my clone stamp tool, which is right here. You know, that's just S on your keyboard, or you just come right here and, you know, pick your clone stamp tool. I set my sample to current layer, you know, aligned, opacity 100%, flow 100%, and that's just how it works. So I'm just going to zoom in right here and start taking out the blemishes on the skin. So this right here won't work for me right here. Then sometimes my hardness, I do not set my hardness all the way to 0. Most times I use between 50 to 70. It depends, because I do not want the edges of the brush to be so soft. You know, I don't want it to be extremely soft. At the same time, I do not want it to create artifacts. So yeah, let's just take these things out. So you can see all this stray hair right here. It's easy to take that out. Now, I'm not looking to make our model like perfect and all that. We're just, you know, making some minor adjustments and minor corrections. So it's not good to over retouch the skin. I kind of learned that over time, you know, from watching professionals retouch. And if you look at magazines, then you see that the people in magazines most times do not look perfect, you know. They just leave some certain things out, probably maybe strand of hair or something, just to make the person look normal, you know, so the person does not look like a doll. So avoid doing that. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep taking the blemishes out with my clone stamp tool. Now, if you've never used the clone stamp tool before, I probably forgot to tell you, the way it works is you have to hold alternate or option, sample the skin around close to where you want to sample the skin close to where you want to, you know, make the corrections. Then, you know, just sample here and paint over this sample and paint over this. Right? Okay, that works. I'm not going to take that out all the way because I don't want the image to look extremely fake, but you know, at that point it was just looking too much. So right here. Okay. I would advise, you know, you follow these same steps because this is exactly what I do, as you guys can see. So yeah, this is how I do my frequency separation. Obviously, sometimes I do not just do it once in, you know, like while I'm editing. Like I do it a lot of times for a lot of things. There are different reasons why, you know, you can use, there are different ways or different things you can use frequency separation to fix, you know. It's not just skin and all that. There are like a lot of things. I use it to fix clothes, hair, you know, so many things. So frequency separation works for me in so many ways. So yeah, I hope you guys have learned something today. I'm just going to finish up this image on my own, and we'll move to the next stage, which is going to be like the global dodge and burn stage. So yeah, so guys, thank you for staying to the end of this video. If you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification button so that you can receive notifications every time I put up a new video. Share this video with anybody you think will find this helpful. And if you have your way of doing things, or if this helped you out, you know, very well, then comment below, let me know. Let's continue this community of retouching and photography. Yeah. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be the global dodge and burn next week. Have a great day. Peace.